Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How is everybody doing, by the way? I hope that since last time you all had a good time. I know I certainly had, and I will say I actually had a very wonderful weekend. Even though, yes, I am working on my review of the new Smurfs movie, I still did a lot of great and exciting things. Worked on some collab projects that I can't wait to go and show you. And also, I did go to the Fantasia Film Festival to go and check out the new Frankelda movie. And may I just say that it is fantastic. If you're a fan of Frankelda's Book of Spooks when that was on HBO Max, then you're going to love this movie. Or at the very least, I very much hope that the film will actually get a wider distribution and that you will get a chance to go and experience that on the big screen, because man, the work that the Ambers brothers did on that, like, it really is admirable. When things do work, they are phenomenal there. All right, but anyways, with that said, what I want to go and tell you before we actually do get into the episode, I actually have a couple of announcements that I would like to go and share with you all. First and foremost, I would like to say that tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, make sure you come back to the AniMat Live Twitch channel, because I will be doing another episode of What's in the Box. I actually got a good amount of letters and packages from you all, and I will be opening them live in front of the camera. And not to mention show you what I have received in those packages and what those letters have said, along with a fun little time where we could just have a nice little chat where if there's any questions you would like to go and ask me, or just want to have like a nice little casual time just to, chill out and, just relax with me, then you know what? It's perfectly fine. That is the moment to do so. So again, just want to remind you, it will be on July 22nd at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be when I will do the What's in the Box. So just to let you know. And on top of that, there is another announcement that I would like to go and tell you all, is that there was a little project that I've been working on this year, just like little bits and pieces, but now it is time I can finally go and present it to you all, in which I have completely rebooted the AniMat's gift shop. So basically, what I did is that I have moved the host of my merchandise store, going from spring to fourth wall. And now the AniMat's gift shop, it is new and improved, filled with many classic merch, along with a few new ones as well. So if you want to go and get some t-shirts or hats or stickers that are based on my shows like Animation Look Back, AniMat's Reviews, AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and other Electric Dragon productions, then this is the place to go. In fact, speaking of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, if you want to go and get a hoodie, for example, it's actually pretty easy to navigate. You just go to the hoodie section on top, and then you could go down. Up there it is, the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast hoodie, and you could get it in many different colors. There we go, just to make sure you could see the hoodie there. And you could get it like, you could customize whichever, and you could get it in any size that you wish, going from small to 3XL. And that's just an example of the hoodie right over here. So if you want to, oh, and actually, I do want to go and state that to commemorate the new reboot of AniMat's Gift Shop, then I would like to go and tell you that there is actually a 1-week promo, and this is one you don't want to miss, in which you can actually get 20% off your first purchase. So you could go and get a bunch of stuff, like get a few t-shirts, stickers, and stuff like that. And if you use the promo code reopening20, then you'll be able to get 20% off there. And this deal is going to go up to July 28th. So if you would like to go and check out the new AniMat's gift shop, then all you have to do is go to animat-gift-shop.forward.com. And there you will find all of my brand new merch in high quality and in great prices as well. And even better, with the promo code reopening20. All right, so those are the little announcements that I would just like to go and announce to you, kind of like a little bit of a plug of some of the new things that I have in store. But now it is time we actually get into the podcast itself. So with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Who is ready? All right, let's see now. Oh, wow, the enthusiasm is high, I see. That is great. All right, I see people are prepared. People are ready for this. That is wonderful. And so with that said, I believe now it is time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story, or actually the first batch of stories, or what could debatably be a little bit over half of this entire episode, we're going to be watching a whole lot of trailers. And we're going to start off a little bit light, and we're going to start off with something that is a lot of fun. In fact, this is actually going to be something that will be coming quite soon, especially when this trailer actually came out exactly a week ago, or a week before I am recording this right now. So to go and begin this, we shall go and start things off by checking out the trailer for the upcoming animated reboot, or the not a reboot, actually, the revival series of the wonderfully weird world of Gumball.
Some said I vanished. That's weird, but I like the wonderfully weird world of Gumball.
And that is the wonderfully weird world of Gumball, to which it will be coming out on Hulu next week, actually, on July 28th. And not to mention, I did hear reports that, yes, it will be coming out on Cartoon Network as well, where they will start airing the episodes, I believe, in October. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I do believe it's going to be sometime, at least in the fall, where it will be going onto television. But with that said, though, I know this is not the first time that I talked about the wonderfully weird world of Gumball here in this podcast, and I believe, I did talk about it when it was announced, or when that announcement video did come out, but with this one, on the other hand, we did get a stronger idea of what we are about to see. We're pretty much seeing, the new things that are going to be coming out in this, at least this season of Gumball. Or honestly, maybe it is a little bit debatable if you could say this is either a whole new series, or this is just a new season of the Gumball that we're familiar with. Either way, it's kind of like Gumball is taking a similar path to Pokemon, because with Pokemon, you know that the adventure is just continuing forward. And even though, with each season, or with every new generation of Pokemon that comes out, they would go and completely change the name and even update the intro and all that kind of stuff. You could debate if it's a whole new series, or maybe it's just a new season of Ash's adventures, or at least that is back in the day, before we got Pokemon Horizons and stuff like that. But my point is, regardless if it is either a whole new series, or if it's just a new season of Gumball that we all know and love, what we do know is that they are back. And one thing that they really sold in this trailer it's pretty much like the song that they kept on singing. It's weird, but I like it, really emphasizing the surrealistic humor that Gumball is known for. And in here, it's kind of like doubling down on that, not to mention also being self-aware of the fact that it is a revival, that we know that it's been literally years since the last episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. So now they're using that as like comedic material, especially there was a whole thing with the body odor that they did also use it as their thumbnail, I believe, but like just this part, I will say it's actually like pretty funny as well.
Sorry, that's like 7 years worth of BO all released at once.
Maybe we should have showered.
Yeah, but who has the time, you know?
I mean, like, you took a lot of time to be revived. Well, yeah, like, you took a lot of time to be revived, so you probably had time to go and shower. But I will say, like, that is definitely fun. And I will say that wasn't the only scene that had me laughing the first time I did see it. There was also, like, plenty of other moments. Like, they're just very short, but you see, like, a lot of the strangeness that they're gonna go and really emphasize, like just to go and randomly click at a few parts. Like they're like even at one point, like you got Darwin holding this Necronomicon like book that's being held together with cat stickers. There's even at one point where we see I forgot. Yeah, like. I forgot the dad's name, honestly. Like, the name escapes me. I don't know if it's, like, Richard or something like that. Chatwall, you could go and help me fill in the blank right there. Yeah, okay, so Richard. Okay, it is Richard, actually. Okay, so I was right. But, yeah, so, yeah, like, he's got a lot of memorable scenes. Like, you see, like this part right over here where like you got the girls that are judging Gumball and Darwin, and then like you got Richard here who's just in his own little world just sucking on a stick of butter, and like that's not the only part. Also, like there's even at one point like, oh yeah, and there's like, yeah, you got one part over here where like he's a cheerleader with Gumball and Darwin, and I think there was at one time like he looks at himself in the mirror and just like you know, sees like an ultra sexified version of himself, which is not the first time that we've seen Richard like that. But like, yeah, like honestly, with his stupidity, he could be a great highlight of the show. And not to mention, oh, and this is another funny part, I gotta say, like when they're stuck in the smart car, this is another great moment.
Doors locked. Destination, bottom of Elmore Lake. Weather today, warm, sunny with a gentle breeze.
Oh, that one's not so bad. It's midwinter. Climate change!
Yeah, so like in this trailer, I gotta say that it really is the kind where it just gives you like small bits and pieces of what people expect from the Amazing World of Gumball. Just again, emphasizing on the weirdness of the entire show, just like embracing its own absurdity and embracing its own surrealism, and not to mention, of course, really playing up with its multimedia of its animation, like with each character is kind of depicted in their own animation style, where you would get like CG characters like the monkey teacher or that T-Rex that you would go and see. And then you get like other 2D characters that would be appearing, like the Watterson family or some of the students that are there as well. And even sometimes you would have like different, you know, like different 2D styles that would be appearing as well. And not to mention even like the facial reactions where they would really go and play that up. Like one of my personal favorite bits in terms of that is the it's like right at the beginning where you see Darwin and Gumball, their minds are just blown, and you see like their animation kind of like, just to replay that, their animation like kind of got a bit of a quality upgrade where their movements are a lot more smooth. Like right over here, like, whoa, like that is a lot of fun. So I will say, like, just seeing with what they're offering again and again and again, it really is the promise that Gumball is back, and it is the same Gumball we all know and love, just updated to reflect upon a bit of modern times, but still have that same familiarity with the tone, with the humor, and with the charisma of the characters. It's pretty much like what I've recently talked about with the King of the Hill revival that's going to be coming soon in early August, where, again, it's another revival. They're bringing back a fan favorite show, and while they're going to be bringing up some new material to go and reflect upon how the world is now and how the technology is nowadays, like more advanced than how it was before and stuff like that, but the tone, the formula, like the core elements of what we love about the show, that is also going to be coming back as well. So I gotta say, like, even though for me, I haven't watched like many episodes of Gumball, but I do watch a lot of the stuff from time to time. And from what I've seen, the show is just absolutely hilarious. And I would say it's honestly one of, if not my favorite Cartoon Network show that came out of the 2010s. It's just a lot of fun to go and check out. And the style of humor is something that personally I could definitely gel with. You know, I am a huge fan of like absurdist and surrealistic humor. So Gumball manages to really nail that. And I could see from this trailer, there's going to be a lot more of that will be coming soon. So with all that said, if you are excited for the Wonderfully Weird of Gumball to be coming back, or technically coming back, well then all you have to do is just wait until July 28th until it comes out on Hulu and or on Disney Plus. All right, so with that said, now it is time. I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And I'd like to ask you all, how do you feel about this trailer of The Wonderfully Weird of Gumball? Are you guys excited to go and see this series again? Do you guys have any criticisms with what you have seen in the trailer? And especially if you are a fan of Gumball, I would love to know what you think. In fact, let's go ahead and have a little bit more fun, and let's go and create a bit of what you think here. In fact, so now go ahead and have a little bit more fun. Ask you, and let's go and create a bit of what you think here. In fact, so now go ahead and have a little bit more fun. Ask you, and let's go and create a bit of what you think here. In fact, so now go ahead and have a little bit more fun. Write down yes, and I'll write down no. So if you're planning on watching it or not, then go ahead and put your vote in the poll. So with that said, let's see what the chat has to go. Put your vote in the poll. It keeps happening again. It keeps happening again. I need to remind myself, seriously. I don't know what the fridge is going on. Like, every time I try to get into Twitch and then suddenly this happens, I need a reminder, okay? I need a reminder to say, all right, go and immediately mute the thing on Twitch so that the echo doesn't happen again. Okay. Well, at least we've managed to go and solve that right now. Anyways, let's go back to what you guys have to go and say here. All right. It's really cute and fun to see the characters. I used to watch a handful of episodes whenever it was on Cartoon Network and Hulu, and seeing them come back is such a great treat. The animation is cute, the visuals look goofy, and the humor gave me a huge laugh. These dang revivals sure can do justice to their original shows. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is also coming back around the same time. I'm hyped for both. It's going to be lots of fun. All right, awesome. Anyways, let's see what other comments we have here. Honestly, I'm very optimistic. Yes, I love watching the show when it used to air on Cartoon Network constantly. At the time, it was the second generation of Chowder and SpongeBob. It's zany, it's crazy, it's weird, and that's what makes it so hilarious. And that's saying a lot since cartoons nowadays can't seem to master that. I never believed it was canceled, so yeah, I've been waiting for it, and I can't wait to see it, as long as the boys showered after first. You know what? This is one of the very rare moments where we should be very thankful that we don't have smell-o-vision. All right, let's see now. I am a big Gumball fan, so I'm pretty glad to see not only are they back in action, but they're just as insane as they were back in the day. Like, that climate change joke made me laugh way harder than it should have. Do I wish they tapped into the cliffhanger from season 6? Yeah, but this is a great first impression, and I can't wait to see more. But we need the return of the greatest Gumball character of all time, Doe Richard. Who will the world know that he is a bun? And you know, the funny thing is, I actually do know what he's talking about. And I mean, who knows? Maybe they will do a callback to that, because I mean, even that jingle is so catchy. Like, I still remember it. I'm a bun, I'm a tasty bun. I'm a bun. I would love to, I would love to see more of Doe Richard. Anyways, let's see what other comments do we have. The timer for the voting is almost done, so just want to go and check. Actually, okay, it is done, because it is almost unanimous that you guys are planning to go and check out this new Gumball series. With the exception of one vote here, it looks like 95% of you have said that yes, you are going to go and check out the wonderfully weird world of Gumball when that's going to be coming out next week. So already I could tell the trailer gave out a great first impression. So the hype is already real from what I can tell. All right, so I'll admit I've only seen a few episodes of The Amazing World of Gumball, but I definitely do understand the appeal of the series and why people love it. And this definitely does look promising. Visually, it's very creative like the original, and the characters stay true to the original series, and the humor is just as good as the original. So overall, this looks fun, and it's so bizarre seeing a Cartoon Network show on Disney+. Yeah, because it depends on some countries, because not everybody has Hulu per se. Like in Canada, for example, we have Star instead that would go and host the more adult stuff that you could find on Disney+, or at least the kind of movies and shows that are geared more towards adults than they would with kids. So I will say, though, I think on my part, I don't know if I am going to be getting the wonderfully weird world of Gumball on my Disney+, but hey, if you can get it, then make sure you go and check it out. All right, I'll read a few more comments, and then we're going to go on to our first break here. I remember my godparents' young daughter was a big Gumball fan, and I remember watching, I think, 4 episodes when I was on vacation. I'm glad that Gumball fans are excited for this blue cat to return. And also, what the heck happened to the movie? I don't know, because the great differences of it just just stopped in production. Well, let's hope the movie is going to happen. Oh, yeah, the movie. I almost forgot that they wanted to do a Gumball movie at some point. But considering how Warner Brothers Discovery is nowadays, I don't know. I'm not going to go and put my hopes up too much. I mean, let's make the most out of what we can get. I mean, let's be happy that we even have this revival in the first place. I don't know if that movie idea is going to ever happen again, especially with the way that Warner Brothers is nowadays. So I don't know. Like, let's just make the most out of what we can get. And the fact that we are getting this revival, that is awesome. All right. Let's see what other comments. Okay, it's great seeing the characters again, and as someone who grew up watching Gumball, the song describes it best. It's weird, but I like it. The humor is very surreal in a good way, and these revivals are doing great work so far with The King of the Hill and Phineas and Ferb, although it is ironic that it is on Disney Plus and not Max. And not to mention, by the way, I did hear that pretty soon the new season of the Futurama revival is also coming back, and that should be considered another example of a great revival that you could go and find on Hulu and on Disney Plus. So at least in terms of that, Disney is definitely on a roll, being the home of revivals of classic cartoons that are coming back and still proving that they could be as strong as ever. I know some people might debate if all of that is the case, like with Animaniacs and stuff like that, but so far, again, with what we have been seeing, like with Phineas and Ferb, and with the promise that we are seeing so far with Gumball and King of the Hill. So far, I mean, they've been doing great. All right, I think I'll go and read one more comment here. So let's see here. Actually, they're actually going to be airing this show here in Canada on YTV as opposed to Cartoon Network and on Disney Plus. Yes, we're at the point where YTV is becoming the home for Cartoon Network stuff. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So I guess in a way, Canada is going to be getting it on TV before the Americans are, or at least in the traditional way where you have to go and like set yourself on a specific time to go turn on the TV and watch that. So, okay. So at least it's good to know. Thank you so much on that, Ryan. Specifically on September 15th. Okay, got it. I'll keep that noted. Anyways, this show is absolutely insane, and that's why I love Gumball so much. The show really reminds me of the early to mid 90s Simpsons, and also had some of the funniest scenes in any TV show I've ever seen. Want an episode recommendation? The Copycats is my favorite episode since that's about dealing with their Chinese knockoffs. Oh, yes, I did actually hear about that one. So, yeah, I don't know if I've actually seen it. I don't think that's among the episodes that I've personally seen, but I'll definitely take note that I got to go and check that out. So, again, I do see the hype is very strong, and many of you are very excited to see the return of Gumball. So, once again, if you are excited to go and check out the wonderfully weird world of Gumball, then keep in mind that the show is going to be coming out on Hulu on July 28th. All right, so now that we got that done, it is time we're going to go on to our first break. And when we do come back, we got another trailer to go and check out. But this time around, we're going to be looking into a movie that's coming out in 2026. So even though we got to wait for a while for that to come out, now we got to go and ask the question, will this be the Pixar original movie that can actually help things out to be better than Elio's financial outcome? Well, we'll stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Now, on our next story, we are going to go and talk about the next Pixar movie. I know it sounds very early to go and immediately talk about that, since it's only been about a month since we've gotten the last Pixar feature with Elio. And yes, there have already been so many different discussions about how it is not doing well at the box office. But you know what, though? Let's go and just forget about all that, because I gotta say, as a movie, I personally really liked Elio. I'd even go as far and say that it is so far one of the better animated features that we have gotten this year. Maybe it's not the best Pixar movie out there, but it still has a lot of heart, it still has a lot of great humor, and it still has a lot of great charm. And for the most part, I'd say that almost everybody who went to go and see Elio, they came back really enjoying that film as well. And it does prove that Pixar is still committed in creating original animated features. And with the next movie that they got coming up, that will go and continue that proof right there. Already showing us what's going to be in store with the next feature and the little shenanigans that the new characters will be experiencing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the teaser trailer for the upcoming Pixar animated feature, Hoppers.
Listen to me. We do not use hopping technology to upset the natural order.
She found the button.
And that is Hoppers, to which the movie is going to be coming out in theaters on March 6th of next year. And it's also worth noting, by the way, that animation fans may recognize that the director of the feature is actually Daniel Chong, who is noted to be the creator of the series We Bare Bears. So I gotta say, no pun intended, but hopping from Cartoon Network to Pixar definitely is quite an impressive leap from there. And I gotta say, just from seeing this teaser trailer, at the very least, I know that it is just a teaser and it doesn't really show us like a whole lot of what's going to be in store with this movie. At the most, they're only presenting us with the whole premise of it and like a little bit of the humor as well. But I would say this is actually a pretty good first impression. Or if we're going to go like at the bare minimum here, this is honestly a better trailer than what we have gotten with that Cat in the Hat movie. Already I could tell that I'm going to have a much better time with Hoppers than I would with the Cat in the Hat. And just from like the energy that I have seen in this trailer with what they are showing, with the tone of it, and especially the humor, it just feels like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think really it's the comedy that sells it. Not only of the fact, of course, I mean, we got to go and bring this up. Like, yes, the premise is very much like Avatar, but with animals, and it's going to be a lot more comical. And right at the beginning, they actually do point that out, that, you know, like they know that this is like Avatar. So it's like, yeah, like right over here.
Which makes the other animals think you're an animal.
Yes!
Guys, this is like Avatar.
This is nothing like Avatar.
Oh, that's definitely great. And then not to mention, there's also like the other parts where we see the animals, like they're hanging out with each other, but they're also very like gossipy type of animals, like just chilling out and then talking about others and stuff like that. Like the moment where we see Mabel, like when she's in her beaver form, like just, you know, when she can hear the birds, or when she hears the deer talking and stuff like that. Those are a lot of fun. But I think for me, my personal highlight has to be when Mabel would go and save the beaver from the bear. And then there's that whole awkward situation of the fact that she doesn't know about the pond rules. Like that scene, I just want to go and get back over here. Like, yeah, this part.
Why?
Huh? What? Why what? Why would I save his life?
Yeah.
So, do you still wanna?
Nuh-uh. It's weird now.
I think I might want to take that, actually. Just that delivery on the line, like, it's weird now. That was honestly a fun scene right there. So already the humor is just really enjoyable. But also, I gotta say, another thing that I find to be great is the animation. In a way, it's still being a little bit cartoony, but now it has a more different approach. Now it's like a different type of cartoony. And I'll even say that you could tell that this is from Daniel Chong, that there is a little bit of that We Bare Bears art style that is really influenced. Because in a way, you could take something like Elio, and now they're really like doubling down on the spherical nature of the designs, down to the point where you go and take a look at the beavers, for example, and notice how like now they're very round, like they're almost like a full-on circle. Like, yeah, maybe there are a few parts that, like, you know, like with arms and legs and their tail and stuff like that, but like, just as how they're standing, especially like with the other beaver, like it's just straight up round. That's like a full-on beaver ball right over here. Like, we're talking about like Pokemon levels of round creatures like Spheal or Rowlet and stuff like that. And it is very cute and it's very nice. And not to mention having straight up cartoon eyes. This isn't like your typical CG animated feature in which they would have like detailed realistic irises in their eyes and stuff like that. No, this is like straight up like round white eyes with little black dots on them. Like honestly, like they're still keeping into that look. Like you even see especially when Mabel is going manic in her beaver mode, just running around, like even the like you see the eyes, they're just like little black dots, and I feel like it's kind of a cute inclusion. The fact that, it's being cartoony, but in a different sense. But already, and not to mention how, like, even with the CG aspect, it does, like adding in the fur and looking all around the forest, it is actually very nice. So I will say, what really does sell me with this teaser trailer right over here is that it's already showing some very nice animation, and it's got some great humor to boot. So already I am pretty hyped up on that. However, there is another thing that I do want to go and discuss, and I know, considering that some people could say we are still in the heat of the Pixar hate and the controversies that Pixar has been getting, especially with what has happened behind the scenes in the making of Elio and how that production was actually pretty troubled. Some people are discussing about how Hoppers might be getting a little bit of that as well. Considering that we have heard behind the scenes that with Hoppers, allegedly, they would go and switch things up, that the executives did also meddle a little bit with what's been going on in that movie. And you might have heard that Hoppers might have toned down the environmentalism message. And that was something that was noted, I believe, in the Inside Out 2 article, and was, of course, also noted in the Elio article, revealing about the trouble behind the scenes of those productions as well. However, Daniel Chong himself actually got a chance to go and actually address this, because there was actually an interview specifically right over here on Screen Rant, where the website actually got to go and talk to Daniel Chong, and they would go and completely discuss about everything that's going on in the movie, or at least from what we have seen in the teaser trailer and how things are going with the production. So, of course, they talk about, the fun of making the movie and how fun this movie is going to be, discussing about, whoops, I went a little bit down, actually. Well, I thought I was already at the start of the article, but yeah, so right over here. So, of course, they do talk about how this is more than just another Avatar movie, or how they would go and talk about the different animals, or how this is going to be unlike anything you would expect from this feature, and how it also separates itself from other animals in the forest type of movies like The Wild Robot. But then there is this part right over here where they talked about the alleged censorship of the environmental message that would have been in Hoppers. And Daniel Chong actually got to go and express that, to go in and talk about his side of the whole thing. And apparently, what's been said might not actually be the case of what's happening behind the scenes. So, reading from my source here on Screen Rant, it says, when asked about the pressures that he faced on his film, Chong replied by saying, "I did not experience having been censored or being told not to do things. If anything, I felt a lot of alignment. I think there was a lot of desire for the themes that we're saying in the movie." So from there, according to Chong, there were none of those types of controversies that did happen behind the scenes. There were no troubled productions. There were no major executive meddlings in which they want to enforce their notes onto the movie and stuff like that. He pretty much said that so far the message that he wanted to say in the movie is so far still very much in the movie. However, he did talk about also what's been happening with some of the other productions and what generally does occur during the making of movies, especially the kind that would be within Pixar. So he also added that the honest truth about the process, though, is that every movie here goes through so much iteration and changes a lot. And I could see maybe to some other people's eyes within the studio how they might see that it looks like things are being censored. But really, the movie is just going through its natural course of iteration and stuff, at least for our movie. So he does understand that, yeah, if you've been working on the nightmarish productions of stuff like Inside Out 2 and Elio, then you may have noticed that, or they may think that this could also occur with Hoppers as well, and maybe they'll see some parallels, but it may not actually be the case, or at least according to the director. He continued by saying that we're asked to do a lot as directors in terms of malleability and being open to changes. You can get lost in the process very easily, and the movie will morph with or without you. He even added an extra comment about what it's like to work with the chief creative officer at Pixar, Pete Docter, in which he says, Pete Docter does a great thing. After notes section, or even after he gives a lot of notes, he'll ask me, are you okay with all these changes? Is there anything here that's bumping for you? He has been amazing in making sure I'm still on the ride and I didn't fall off. And I am very grateful for that. So at the very least, from what we have been seeing so far with the production of Hoppers, at least according to the director, things are going quite smoothly, actually. It doesn't seem like it shares that same troubled story that is going on like with what plagued on Elio, or with what affected Inside Out 2. So that's actually a very promising note. That's a very promising thing that we are seeing. And, if things can go well for Hoppers, hopefully that will translate to things actually going a lot smoother for the movie itself. Now, is this all a good thing? Will Hoppers actually turn out to be a great feature? Honestly, it's too early to tell. Yes, Pixar is still currently working on the feature, and maybe there will be some changes that will occur by the time that the movie does come out. And who knows, maybe it will turn out to be a massive disappointment, or it could turn out to be another masterpiece from Pixar. Either way, honestly, we don't know. The only way that we can find out is when the film does actually come out, and we gotta wait like several months for it to do so. But I will say, in my opinion, from the teaser trailer we have seen, it definitely shows a lot of great promise, and it is a very solid first impression. Again, I really like the animation that it's doing, and I also love the humor. So it looks like it's going to be another great, funny Pixar film, just like what we've recently gotten with Turning Red. So if you are excited to check out Hoppers, then keep in mind that it will be coming out in theaters on March 6th. And with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the Hoppers teaser trailer? Did you guys like what you just saw, or are you guys a little bit iffy about it? And also, I might as well go and do a little poll once again, in which I will go and ask you all, did you like the... hold on a sec, I did not write that correctly. Did you like the Hoppers teaser? There we go. So I'll write down yes, and then I'll write down no, and we'll start that poll, and we'll see what the chat wall has to say. All right. I'm looking forward to this film, and I absolutely love We Bare Bears, and it's really cool to see Daniel Chong's style and humor be implemented into a Pixar film. I honestly can't wait to see how this film turns out. I'm just hoping that the toxic incels don't slam on this film like they did with Elio and use it as fuel to rage bait. Yeah, and that's honestly another unfortunate thing that's been going on. Because of the release of the teaser trailer, apparently some people on the internet, especially those on Twitter, they still desperately want that fire of the Pixar hate to rage on and keep on hating this movie, in which some people are still accusing Hoppers now of using the Cal art style, despite the fact that it is very obvious that the art style that Hoppers is using is way different than the ones that we have seen for like Luca or Elio or Turning Red. So if Elio alone is not enough to show that the Pixar hate that we've been seeing lately is nothing more but a stupid grift in order to go and gain attention, then the hate that Hoppers has been getting is absolutely unnecessary. Like, they don't have a valid reason to go and really hate the movie as much as some of them are doing right now. So honestly, it really is at the point where it's making their arguments against Pixar and Elio and Hoppers. Like, it's really becoming at the point where it's becoming more and more clear that they have nothing to say about it and they're just desperate for attention. It's nothing more but a worthless grift right now. It's honestly so stupid. All right. Anyways, let's see. There is already, I see Crimson Mayhem has already brought this up. I already mentioned this on Blue Sky. The fact that people are already labeling Hoppers as another bean mouth Pixar movie when its art style is a complete stark contrast to the previous films just only proves how shallow the criticisms really get. At this point, animation Twitter ironically doesn't care about the artistic integrity and goes into animation, and they only want content that specifically caters to their taste. That's really the big thing. It's just they're just desperate for their own rage bait. They can't, like, the thing is right now, the cartoon community seems to care a lot more about their nostalgia and to make everything the way it used to be, the way that they liked it when they were kids, and also just engagement. Like, really, right now, it feels like the hate that Elio and Hoppers is getting right now, it's exclusively for engagement. They're just doing it in order to get the likes and the views. And the fact that there's a lot of prominent YouTubers and a lot of prominent cartoon reviewers, people like me, that are doing it, it honestly feels shameless. Like, it really shows how, like, we are entering, like, the big downfall of the cartoon community, or at least in terms of their reputation and in terms of their integrity, where their rage and their hatred, especially the hate that they're giving towards Disney and Pixar, is like what Crimson says. It really is nothing but shallow, and it makes it feel hard to hear, it makes it hard to listen to them and know if they're actually being genuine about their criticisms towards Disney, because the grand majority of it has been nothing but attention, or it's been nothing but for attention. And by the way, I just want to go into the poll right over here. It looks like, well, it's unanimous. Every single one of you who have voted said that, yes, you did like the Hoppers teaser. So already I know that I am not alone on this, and you all had a great time with the teaser that we have seen as well. So that's great to see. Anyways, I was there when Hoppers was first announced last year, and here we are today seeing this teaser, and what do I think about it? This looks fun. Knowing We Bare Bears, I could tell this is going to be great, and also the eyes in the animals are the ones I could see in We Bare Bears. I'm sure animation fans online will take this seriously and call this film very unique, right? Sorry, it's a little too late. We've already had that discussion. Anyways, I have a friend who described this movie as the wild robot, but if it was on 2 bags of cocaine. And yeah, it sums it up perfectly. This looks absolutely bonkers. Not only is the animation really nice, but the comedy is completely insane. You could tell this whole thing is Daniel Chong's handiwork because it gives out a ton of We Bare Bears energy. This is going to be a fun watch, but I may need a quick reminder of something. Is this like Avatar? Because I have no idea if it's like Avatar. I don't know. I'm just going to go with what the movie says. They say it's not like Avatar, so maybe it's nothing like Avatar. So we'll take their word on, we'll take their word for it. All right. Let's see. looks like this will be a damn good movie. Well, somebody has to make that joke. It might as well have to be me. In all seriousness, though, this was delightful. They packed plenty of classic Pixar humor into this trailer, and the We Bare Bears art style looks adorable in 3D. Glad Pixar didn't tone down this movie's environmental message, and the movie's production wasn't as tumultuous as Inside Out 2's or Elio's. Exactly, man. Exactly. Anyways, I'll go and read a few more comments. This actually looks like it's going to be great with great jokes and animation. Also, it looks like the original idea was involving penguins, but then it changed to beavers. So it is possible that the environmental theme went from climate change to habitat destruction. Finally, this is the first time a Pixar trailer, if not a Disney-based animated film trailer in general, used a song that has a blatant F word in the lyrics. If you don't know, look up Lose Control by Missy Elliott. Oh, I definitely do believe you, but I'm sure they might have censored that. They would censor that, though. Or at least, like, it's not like we blatantly hear the F word used in the trailer. Because honestly, let's be real. I'm sure there are a few characters in what we have seen in this trailer that would have used the F word before Missy Elliott would have a chance to go and say it. But yeah, although I will say, in terms of, like, what could be the environmental message? Honestly, we'll see if there even is one, because I will note, though, that it doesn't look like from the trailer that we have seen, well, they didn't show any environmentalism message. I mean, it looks like it could, but you know, it doesn't look like they might go and reflect that. But then again, if the wild robot can do amazingly without any form of environmentalism message, or I don't think it had an environmentalism message, if I recall. But if it can do well without that, then I'm sure Hoppers can do, maybe Hoppers can do very well without it also. You could correct me if I'm wrong, if there is an environmental message on the wild robot or not. I'm trying to recall. Anyways, I think I'll read one more comment before we go on to the next comment. Let's see, where can be a good little comment to read? Okay, I'll go with this one here. This movie so far looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. While I'm still hesitant to say that this will be great, it still shows a lot of promise. This is a pretty hilarious and gorgeous looking movie. Its humor reminds me of We Bare Bears, another project that the director worked on. I'm still on board on supporting original movies, and I will definitely be supporting Hoppers. Exactly, dude. Oh, and I do notice that some people are even commenting, putting up a lizard emoji. If you know, you know. It's only the cool animation kids that do understand the context of the lizard emoji. All right, but you know what? It's great to see there's a lot of positivity and a lot of hype that is going on with the Hoppers teaser trailer. It's already off to a pretty good start. So if you are excited to go and check out Hoppers, then keep in mind that the movie is going to be coming out in theaters on March 6th next year. All right, now with that said, I'm going to go on to another break. And when we do come back, we're going to go and check out another trailer. But this time around, this is actually going to be one that, well, let's just say, if you think the negative reactions were absolutely wild and stupid for Hoppers, you're not ready to go and experience the hate that this movie has been getting so far. So stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Now we got one more trailer that we are going to go and watch. And with this one, this is actually going to be a movie that will be coming pretty soon, actually. As I'm recording this, it's going to be in a few weeks that it shall be coming out. And what's very interesting with this trailer in particular, or this movie that we shall be talking about, they actually released 2 different trailers. There was one that was released on YouTube, and safe to say that it did not get a positive reaction. And honestly, I can see why. I'm not necessarily blaming the movie itself, but it's more how the trailer was crafted. It did not represent well what the movie is, really. But if you want a better example of how the movie shall be, then crazy enough, you don't go on YouTube, but instead you have to go on Netflix. And by the way, I know some people actually did ask if this is going to be a little too extreme to go and check out. Don't you worry, because this trailer here is actually a censored version where the naughty bits and the swear words, they were actually censored out. So don't you worry about seeing anything or hearing anything that might be nasty. So with that said, though, let's go ahead and check out the trailer that is uploaded on Netflix on the upcoming R-rated animated comedy Fixed.
Oh, yeah, so good. Oh, you are my one and only.
Honey, this is not that.
What do you call it?
I don't know what to call it, but it isn't sex.
And that is Fixed, to which the movie is going to be coming out on Netflix on August 13th. Now, I'm just going to go and immediately say this right now. I understand that this is not the kind of movie that's for everyone, okay? I understand that with the type of humor that it is going, like, the best way that I could describe it is that this is pretty much the dog version of Sausage Party, where it basically goes all out and is very unapologetic in terms of the very cute or very crude and raunchy humor. That, yes, this is very much a lot about sex. This is very much there's a lot of swearing. That it's basically well, no pun intended, and as Idris Elba said in the trailer, the movie is going pretty much off leash and just be as unapologetically be as horny as possible. And from there, I do get it that not everyone is going to enjoy that. Not everyone is going to have not everyone is going to vibe with that style of humor. So honestly, I get that. I will say, though, I'm just going to go and start off by putting out my opinion from what we have seen in the Netflix trailer over here. I will say that in terms of the humor, because the main thing that it really wants to be is a comedy and really go all out with the type of shock humor that it wants to go and present. And not to mention, like, have Bull's balls be dragged around everywhere. I mean, it's not like it's not like in the trailer that we have seen in the one on YouTube where they would go and present it all uncensored. But still, though, I will say it is the humor is mixed. I'm not going to say all the jokes worked out for me, but there were some, I'm not going to lie, that, it's actually pretty funny. I actually did enjoy it. Like, even that final bit when his, I think, girlfriend caught him having sex with another dog, where, like, the ending right there, that I will give it, was actually a lot of fun. Hold on a sec. Okay, yeah, no, not with grandma. Nope, not that one. Yeah, like right over here, this one.
Honey, this is not that.
What do you call it?
I don't know what to call it, but it isn't sex.
Just caught right in the middle of it, and not to mention just hanging upside down with the only thing connecting to the other dog is just his dick up her, I don't know, like maybe it could be up her ass, up her pussy, or anything like that. I don't know. But, I will admit, there are some jokes here that they're actually pretty funny. And even the actor's delivery on some of the lines, they actually do work out. There are some things that, honestly, they did get me. You know, there are a few moments that did make me laugh, even though maybe not everything I would consider to be like full on funny. But there is one thing, though, that I must say I was actually quite surprised is actually the animation, because this is Sony Pictures Animation's first ever fully hand-drawn animated feature. And yes, there are probably a few moments where you would see in their movies, like maybe short bits and pieces, or especially like in the credits, like Hotel Transylvania is a pretty good example, where in the credits they would have like 2D animated sequences. But this time around, they decided to go all out with the 2D. And I was surprised to see how the animation is like so smooth. This is like some really good quality hand-drawn animation that they are presenting, especially to go and help sell out on the comedy, especially to show some of the reactions, the way that the dogs would go and move all around. But honestly, I was actually quite impressed with what they have done with the visuals. My one criticism, though, is that I will say it feels weird seeing that Genndy Tartakovsky style design with such fluid animation. I don't know, like maybe it's just me, but there's just something about it with the comedic Genndy Tartakovsky art style. And you would go and implement that with like almost Disney quality hand-drawn animation. There's something about it that I don't know if it mixes as well as I thought. Like, this is one of those cases where I feel like it would have actually benefited if it used more limited animation. That if they go back a little bit more to that style of Dexter's Laboratory, for example, I think, honestly, the animation would be a lot more effective, and it would actually sell more in the stylized look. But then again, like, I know it sounds like a very strange criticism, but that's honestly like just a little piece right there. But that doesn't change that I honestly actually had some admiration for the animation. It actually does look pretty solid. And I mean, you know, nowadays, especially, it's very rare that you would see an animated movie that would have this type of fluid hand-drawn animation. I can't say that it's been a long time, because we did recently get The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. But what they did with Vix, honestly, the visuals were pretty solid. However, there is another thing that I want to go and immediately address. Because like I said at the beginning, I know that not everyone is on board with what we have seen in the trailer. And I know not everyone is excited to go and see Fixed. And whatever opinion you may have so far, however you may feel with the trailer that we have seen, okay, I get it. Maybe it's not for you, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that. I get it. You know, like, if you don't think you're going to like this movie, if you don't think this is your cup of tea, if this is not like your style of comedy that you want to go and watch, you know, that's fine. Because again, not everyone is on board to go and check out these types of raunchy animated films that is similar to Sausage Party. But the hate that this movie has been getting is honestly insane. Like, honestly, this is the kind of hate that really feels absolutely overwhelming. Like, you know, honestly, this is the kind of hate that you see this movie get, and you're kind of wondering, was this made by Disney? Why the hell are people raging so hard on Fix? Like, why is it that this movie is getting a lot of hate? Because you would think, theoretically, this is almost everything an animation fan would want. Because this is an original animated feature. It's fully hand-drawn animated. It's Sony Pictures Animation. And we're still, like, in the middle of the K-pop Demon Hunters hype. So, of course, theoretically, there should still be a lot of love for Sony Animation. It's from Genndy Tartakovsky, one of the most admired figures in animation. And it's R-rated to prove that animation can also be for adults. Like, the only thing that is missing is if this movie would be released in theaters, and that right there would have been an animation fan's dream come true. And yet, this is not what happened. It has been getting massive backlash, debatably maybe even more than what Elio has been getting or what Pixar has been getting with both Elio and Hoppers. Like, this is the new movie that everybody just really wants to go and hate and slam and say that it's like the disgrace of animation and all that kind of stuff. And I gotta say that I am shocked. I am just shocked to see how people are just ready to go and despise this movie and really go and immediately hate it as like one of the worst things that ever happened to the medium. And I just want to go and say right now, the hate has gone way too far. The hate is honestly overwhelmingly extreme with the way that people are treating this animated feature. And you got to keep in mind, folks, this is me talking here. This is from the guy who used to have the reputation of being the Sony Pictures animation hater. This is coming from the guy who does not like the Hotel Transylvania movies whatsoever. Like 1, 2, 3, and 4, I find them to be awful. I find them to be bad. I gave each of them the AniMat's seal of garbage. And yet, this is coming from me to go and say to the cartoon community and to people on the internet that your hate for this new Sony Pictures animation movie from Genndy Tartakovsky has gone way too far. That should go and tell you to go and put up the brakes and say, yeah, maybe I've gone a little bit too extreme with it. And this is not to mention that it really does show that whatever love Sony Pictures animation has been getting right now, it really does feel fake. Especially when it comes to those people trying to use K-pop demon hunters to go and attack Elio. Because honestly, this really proves that like when people are trying to make those comparisons, mainly to go and slam a movie that they think is lesser and stuff like that, they do not give a crap about the movie that they label as superior. And in this case right over here, they just openly expose themselves that the people hating on Pixar, Disney, and Elio and stuff like that, they do not give a shit about K-pop demon hunters. They don't care about the movie. I highly doubt if they even think that it's good. For them, it's nothing more but material to go and fuel in their hate just as a desperate, cheap attempt in order to get engagement, the same way that you would expect from alt-right grifters like The Quartering or Geeks and Gamers and Nerdtonic and other of those bottom-feeding YouTubers that should have their channels banned. Like, it really is at the point where now it is just shameless that they do not care about Sony Pictures animation at all, and that they just want to use it as their fuel for hatred. And now with this Fix movie coming out, they don't care who it's from. They don't care who made it. They just want to go and label it as absolute garbage just for their posts on social media and for their videos on YouTube. I even just saw it recently, like Moist Critical, aka Penguin Z0, just put out a video calling it painfully bad and just trying to go and jump into the whole grift of it all to go and like fuel more rage baiting hatred for this movie. And honestly, like, it is at the point where it really is shameless with how the cartoon community is going on right now. And honestly, I really feel like just reflecting not just on Fix, but also like the massive hate that we have recently seen with Pixar, with films like Elio and Hoppers, with the Lilo and Stitch live action remake, and even like earlier in the year with the reactions to the Shrek 5 new designs. Like, it really feels like 2025 is the downfall of the cartoon community, at least in terms of their integrity and their reputation. Like, it has really gotten to the point where now their hatred has gone like so extreme, especially with their hatred for like Disney and Pixar and stuff like that. There needs to be a point where they gotta get called out. This needs to be addressed, where now the hatred has like, it's gone way too overblown. It's way too overwhelming. And it's really a negative point towards the community and also for the medium itself. Like, it's gone too extreme. And really, going back into Fix, the only reason why it's been getting so much hate is because it's not the kind of movie that they want to have. It's not their type of adult animated feature that they want to go and see. And they're just, really, people are just being so unapologetic that they're just hating it because it's not their movie. Regardless of what you may think about the quality itself, you're just upset that it's not going after your taste specifically. That's the real reason why people are just going after this movie without even wanting to go and give it a chance, and would rather use that as a way to not only attack the feature itself, but even going after Genndy Tartakovsky, where some people are even comparing him to John Christopher Lucy right now. Which, honestly, that's like going way too far, man. I would even say, even me a decade ago would go and say, dude, that's a little messed up right there. Honestly, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, do I think this movie is going to be great? Honestly, not really. At best, it looks like it's going to be a fun comedy, but I highly doubt if it's going to be best animated feature material right there. But still, I am open to the option that maybe this could actually turn out to be good. Or at least for me personally, this looks like it does have a good chance to be better than the Hotel Transylvania movies that we have gotten since the last decade. So honestly, we'll just go and see how it goes. But before the movie does come out, my God, people need to cool themselves down and be open up that maybe this could turn out to actually be pretty good, because the hate on this is just absolutely ridiculous, and it really does highlight the sheer toxicity of the cartoon community that must be addressed as soon as possible. If you're not convinced with all the blatant stupid attacks that they're going after the Disney movies and stuff like that, then maybe Fix can go and actually help you open up your eyes to see that, no, the problem is not the movies or the studios, it's actually the community just being a little too extreme, and that maybe they should consider taking therapy instead of spending more time on social media. So anyways, with that said, if you are interested in checking out Fix, then keep in mind that the movie will be coming out on August 13th. And with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And now I would like to go and ask you all, what did you all think of the Fix trailer that we have seen over here? Are you guys interested in checking it out? Are you excited to go and see it? Is this not your cup of tea? In fact, let me go onto Twitch, and I would like to go and ask you all, will you be watching... hold on a sec, I gotta go write that. Will you be watching Fixed? So this is not about the trailer. This is actually about if you are planning to go and see the movie. So I'll go and write down yes, I'll go and write down no, and see what the audience has to say. All right. If the Hoppers trailer gave me We Bare Bear vibes, this trailer gives me Strays vibes. Remember that movie with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx as the swearing dogs? That's what this is like. And as such, I can't say that I'm sold, but I have to give Sony credit for trying something different. The animation is great. There's some good laughs to be had. And the idea of this movie is really a bold swing. I was never expecting K-pop Demon Hunters level quality, but I'll still go in with an open mind. All right, that's fair. And it's honestly kind of funny because with Strays, that's actually a movie produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are also prominent Sony animation figures. So we'll see if maybe another prominent Sony animation figure can go and do this concept justice. All right, let's see now. I find it so funny that this is Sony Pictures Animation's next film after K-pop Demon Hunters. From a cultural phenomenon to a movie about dogs obsessing with his dick, his balls, actually. Honestly, everyone, I find it gross and really funny. The hand-drawn animation looks fantastic, the voice acting is actually great, and Genndy is not afraid to push that R rating for Fix. This is kind of insane, and this is happening. Dang. All right. I don't know about you, but I am so excited for this film to come out. I mean, the animation in this film looks so good. It's really disheartening when I see those incel man children rage against this film. Like, it won't work with everybody, but they're acting as if it pissed all over their DVDs and Blu-rays and all of their movies. Like, if Ralph Bakshi's Fritz the Cat came out today, they would all have a collective aneurysm. This is the real reason why companies are scared to try anything new. Yeah, and not to mention, this is also the reason why you don't see many people, like, this is all, like, 2025 is also a statement that shows that this is why we have yet to see hand-drawn animation make a true comeback. Because as much as animation fans claim that they really want to see that return, it doesn't really matter, because you don't really see much of the cartoon community going in to go and watch The Day the Earth Blew Up. And with the way that Fix is being with the way that people are reacting to Fix, yeah, it's not really worth it. Like, they don't care if this is a new hand-drawn animated feature. And yet they're thinking that all the world's problems will be solved if Disney suddenly brings back hand-drawn animation? Why? Honestly, this is why I feel like even if Disney would go make a fully hand-drawn animated feature, they wouldn't go and care less. They're still going to go and desperately try to find a reason to go and rant and hate Disney and just make up an excuse to say that, oh, I don't actually want this. You know, it's kind of like what we saw with Elio. You know, they're going to go and rage and hate it. And no matter what Disney or Pixar would go and say, they're just going to go and twist their words and try to go and use that to attack them and make more rage baiting posts and videos and stuff like that. It's honestly ridiculous. Like, it really is at the point where, again, really the problem is no longer about the movies or the studios or the companies. It's really the community that is the problem, because they don't want to go and manage their anger in a healthy way and just treat movies as movies. Like, seriously, it really, you know, again, it's really like a lot of what I said about the hatred that the Lilo and Stitch remake got. And like, now it's further proving me more correct. Not just with the Lilo and Stitch remake, but now with Fixed as well. And by the way, I just want to go and mention that in the poll right over here, I did see that the majority of you are willing to go and check this movie out, where I believe around 85% of you who have voted said that, yes, you're going to be checking out Fixed. All right, so with that said, let's see what other comments are in here. So let's see what we got. All right. I'll admit that this trailer looks just fine. I'll admit that I do find the animation nice. How I personally do think the humor is a lot more hit and miss with some, excuse me, folks. With some good jokes and some not so good jokes. So overall for me, while I do understand the appeal, it's not really my cup of tea. However, it does not justify the hate this movie has been getting. Seriously, if you want an example, look at Saber Sparks' video using K-pop demon hunters to slam Elio. Yeah, exactly. Like, what? Like, seriously, Saber? Like, I understand. You know, it's like I said before. I understand you went through a massive controversy, and that really sucks, and I'm glad that you're able to prove your innocence. But do you really need to make a clearly clickbaity video, like, just to do a stupid comparison of K-pop demon hunters and Elio and stuff like that? Come on, Saber, you know that you're fucking better than that, man. Like, why do you even need to go and do that? Is your channel really dying that badly to the point that you need to go and use these stupid tactics in order to bring in audiences again? Come on, man. Again, you should know better than doing that kind of shit. Like, seriously, be a better animation fan than catering to the dumbasses on Twitter. And why are you even on Twitter in the first place? If you even care about animation, you should delete that as soon as possible. Anyways, honestly, I didn't hate it. I'm slightly more iffy on it, but I love the animation though. And considering that this is coming from Genndy Tartakovsky and that we know very well that you're not a fan of Hotel Transylvania films, it looks like Fix would finally be the better Genndy Tartakovsky directed Sony animation movie for you. Exactly. For me, the Hotel Transylvania films are quite a low bar, and hopefully we will go and see Fix just jump through that. So give me more dogs with balls than Adam Sandler vampires. You know what I'm saying? All right, I think I got time for one more comment here. Let's see. Going from K-pop Demon Hunters to this is the Sony version of animation Twitter gassing up The Last Wish, only to be blinded with Ruby Gillman. I'm not going to knock anyone for liking it, but it really is not for me. I'm actually kind of repulsed by how crass and vapid it is. At least Vivzy Pop has hard humor and a nuance to balance out the vulgarity in her animation. And I mean, that's perfectly fine, man. If it's not for you, that's okay. Just don't go out of your way, like, raging about it like how I used to do in the decade prior. So that's just my little warning. So yeah, it's safe to say that the hate is just absolutely overblown, and I think people are really going too far with the Sony hate. And again, this is me that is saying this, so that really does say a lot. And if you are curious to go and check out Fix, then keep in mind that the movie shall be coming out on August 13th on Netflix. And with that said, we're going to go on to our next break. And when we do come back, we're actually going to be diving into something that I personally consider to be a rumor. Now, I don't know if this is going to be true or not, but the premise of it, I gotta say, it's freaking weird. So tune in and we're going to get back into our next story. All right, welcome back, folks. Now, on our next story that we have over here, I'm going to go into something that I will definitely be repeating a lot on this segment, that this is a rumor. Now, there is no official confirmation to go and say if this really is happening or not. There might be that possibility that it will, but I feel like this is something that is worth discussing about, because if this really is true, then oh boy, I feel like this is going to be the kind that people will have to go and brace themselves if that may be the case, because the concept of it, it's just, it's quite out there. Let's just go and say that. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the announcement of a live action My Little Pony movie. Yes, word has been going around the internet in which it says that apparently Amazon, MGM Studios, and Hasbro Entertainment are going to be teaming up in order to go and make a live action feature based on the My Little Pony franchise. Now, from here, that is the only piece of information that we know about. We don't know anything else. We don't know about any of the people who are going to be working on it. Like, we don't know who's going to be the writer, the director, or even any of the producers. So there's no confirmation on that. We don't know what it will be specifically based on. Like, we don't know if it's going to be its own thing. Like, it'll be a more original feature with new characters and a new storyline and stuff like that. Maybe they're going to go in that direction. Or maybe it's going to be more of an adaptation of one of the previous generations. Maybe it'll be based on Gen 1. Maybe it'll be based on Friendship is Magic, or maybe it'll be based on the latest generation that is on Netflix. Maybe it'll be doing one of those. I honestly have no idea. But the only thing that we do know is that word has been going around that there's going to be a live action My Little Pony movie, apparently, and it's a story that Variety actually went and picked it up. However, there is one more important piece to go and note about this story, because this is the one thing that's been holding it up as a rumor. It's not because of any details that we don't know about, but it's specifically where the source exactly actually came from. And no, this is not from Variety. It's specifically coming from this little piece right over here, where it says the news was first reported by the Snyder. And for those of you who don't know, the Snyder is actually the publishing website by Jeff Snyder, whom in recent years has grown, has grown quite a lot of controversy over the years, mainly because of the fact that, well, there's no better way of saying it. The dude lies. He keeps spreading misinformation of what's actually been going on in Hollywood. Like, he would claim to be as this big Hollywood insider who would go and be the first to go and deliver the big scoop of what's going to be happening in Hollywood and what's been happening with like some of the major movies that's going to be coming out. But in recent years, it turns out that a lot of the stuff that he would go and put out, they're just flat out lies and just wildly exaggerated tales that are just at best highly doubtful if they are true. And a great example of this, and probably the most prominent example, is when Jeff Snyder would go and actually report that in terms of the production of Beyond the Spider-Verse, the team had to go and completely reset everything from the top, that they would have to go and reject everything that they have done and rebuild Beyond the Spider-Verse from the ground up. In which it was a report that not only producer and writer Chris Miller, but also composer Daniel Pemberton had to go and step in to say that, no, this is actually false, and the reporter is flat out lying. Now, I will confess that even afterwards, I was kind of like considering if maybe there could be some truth to that story, or maybe Jeff Snyder might be on the right with this one, mainly because we have heard about what has happened during the production of Across the Spider-Verse and how that actually turned out to be a massive nightmare, especially because of the way that Phil Lord would go and handle the production. And not to mention, that's what he would go and do with his previous movies as well. Like, he would gain such an infamous reputation of that with the productions of stuff that he would go and direct and produce, especially with his animated films like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the Lego Movie, The Mitchells vs. Machines, etc., and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be surprising if what happened in Across the Spider-Verse would also apply onto Beyond the Spider-Verse as well. And I was thinking if maybe that would be the case, but lately it turns out that maybe things are going better at Sony Animation than expected, at least in terms of what's been going on with with Beyond the Spider-Verse. Because not only did they confirm that it's going to be coming out in June of 2027, but there was a recent report that did come out actually saying that there is going to be a delay, but it's only by a few weeks, which honestly is way better than a delay of like several months or even over a year, like what Across the Spider-Verse has received. So already things have been looking better and better with what's been happening with Beyond the Spider-Verse. And maybe it turns out that maybe Jeff Snyder was lying this whole time. So that is something that really is worth noting. And that's just one example of the lies that Jeff Snyder would go out to go and say. Another prominent example is with the Jim Henson Studios in Hollywood, in which he alleged that the Jim Henson Company decided to go and sell the studio to the Church of Scientology, and Lisa Henson had to go and step in to say that this was a flat out lie. That's not actually the case. They wouldn't go and sell that to the Church of Scientology. And in fact, it did not happen. And there's even one story, and even though Warner Brothers said nothing about it, there was at one point when Jeff Snyder actually said that apparently Warner Brothers is planning on completely selling the Looney Tunes, which, like, I understand that the way that the company has been treating them, it's not great, but it's not bad to the point that they would go and completely sell them away. Like, they're still showing a bit of commitment that they still want to do a bit of stuff with the Looney Tunes. So from there with Jeff Snyder, he's just been telling lie after lie after lie, where he's becoming far less of a credible source. So when I heard that he would go and say that there's this live action My Little Pony movie, immediately I had to go and raise up a red flag and just say, yeah, no, this is bullcrap. This is a flat out lie. Like, survey says. So yeah, and honestly, I immediately called bullcrap on that. However, there were some people who also explained to me that maybe there is some believability to it, especially with the fact that Variety actually picked this story up. And I mean, I get it. I understand that it is true that with Variety, it is definitely a much more credible source. And if Variety would go and say something about it, then maybe there is some truth to it. Maybe that could be the case. In fact, even Variety actually said that they have confirmed that apparently there is this movie that's going to be happening. Okay, so that could actually be the case. Maybe this is a case that maybe Jeff could be right all along. You know what they say, like a broken clock rings twice, or I think that's the expression. It's something like that. You guys know what I mean. But still, though, even at that, the more I think about it, the more I feel hesitant to even believe if that is true. Because one thing you got to go and think about is the fact that, okay, Variety did report on this and they said that they confirmed this, but why haven't we heard from any of the other major news sources, though? Why is it that we haven't heard from either Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter to go and actually report this also? You would think they would also go and pick this story up and try to tell that to their readers and stuff like that. But no, so far the only major publishing website to go and report this, or at least in terms of entertainment, is Variety. And that's pretty much it. I think People also picked that up, but I mean, you know, it's People magazine. Like, it's not really like that reliable of a source to go and say like, oh, look, this news must be true, you know? And, you know, People magazine is not really built for that per se. But yeah, so honestly, this is why I am saying right now that at best, it's just a rumor. Maybe they're doing it, maybe they're not. But for now, the only time that we could say that if it is true or not is only when Hasbro or Amazon MGM themselves actually does say something. If they can go and actually address this to go and say that it is true that this is going to be happening, then fine. We will go and believe them since they are the ones that are allegedly making it, and Hasbro is the one who owns My Little Pony. So until they say something about it, we can only consider this a rumor. But one thing I will say, in my opinion, I really do hope this is just a rumor, though, because the idea of this movie is honestly ridiculous. I mean, I get it if they want to actually go and make a live action My Little Pony movie, because yeah, say what you will about the live action Lion King remakes, like with the 2019 film and Mufasa, but they were very successful. So I could see them wanting their own Mufasa and Lion King remake by making a My Little Pony movie. And we're just going to have a bunch of weird, colorful horses that are going to be going around like, hello, my name is Pinkie Pie. We are going to have a party. Isn't that right, Twilight Sparkle? Hold on, Pinkie Pie. I got to write on my journal first. Dear Princess Celestia, you cannot believe the day that I am having today. I don't know why I gave him that accent. All I can imagine, like, if we're going to have, like, real horses as My Little Pony, all I can imagine is that they're all going to be voiced by Gru from Despicable Me. I don't know. I feel like that is a very fitting voice if you're somehow going to have these real horses talk, you know? That's how I feel, honestly. So, love your Tommy Wiseau. That's not even Tommy Wiseau. Oh my God. Tommy, like, honestly, at least I was acting when I was doing that voice. You know, like, I'd have to, like, not try to be like Tommy Wiseau, you know, like, dear Princess Celestia, I'm going to have quite an amazing adventure. What a funny story, Applejack. Anyways, how's your sex life? Oh yeah, wow, even Ryan just stepped in, like, just wrote that as I said it. All right, but anyways, as I was saying, yeah, honestly, I am not a fan of the idea of a live action My Little Pony movie. And for now, until we get an answer from Hasbro themselves or from Amazon MGM, we're just going to consider this a rumor. We don't know if this really is true, especially when, well, as the young crowd would say it best, the source is honestly very sus. So that's honestly my little piece right there. And with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, how do you feel about the rumor of a My Little Pony live action movie? Do you guys think that's actually true? Do you think the rumor is false? In fact, you know what? I'm going to go and do a poll. I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to go and ask you all, do you think this MLP rumor is true? Is true? So I'm going to go and write down yes, and then I'm going to go and write down no, and we'll see what you all say about it. And let me go and check out what people will have to go and say. Oh, wow. Some people are asking for like different impressions. Oh, hi, Spike. And one person even asked for King Julian. Oh, my God. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Honestly, it sounds more like Dubus Goobus doing Zach Galifianakis Jamba in that one video he did. All right. Anyways, let's see what is said here. I'm more of a casual MLP fan, so this really shocked me. It's one thing for Hasbro to rebrand the franchise again with G6, but this is just bizarre. Honestly, I am kind of leaning towards this potentially being fake, so not only because of Jeff Snyder's reputation, but I also feel like we would have something from Hasbro by now. Honestly, if this is fake, I honestly can't wait how many MLP fans are falling for this. Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess you'll have to see what Twitter has to say, because in the state that Twitter is right now, they would literally believe in anything. So ask MLP Twitter what they think. Let's see now. It reminds me of a copy pasta that was posted on 4chan long ago. I forgot how the full thing goes, but I do remember the pasta effectively being a satire of those generic live-action cartoon adaptations based exclusively in New York from 2011 Smurfs to 2021 Tom and Jerry. It's gonna get a little hoarse. Hold on a sec. And cue generic pop tunes for the trailer should the movie in question materialize for reality. All right. Let's see. When I was very young, around 5 or 6 years old, or maybe 7, I was obsessed with My Little Pony. Yes, that means I was a young brony back in the day. I remember watching the 2017 My Little Pony movie and even watched the 1986 film as well. But I never watched the Netflix film because I was not a brony anymore. I don't know this movie is going to happen or not, but I see in the future. And your presentation of voice sounds so crappy. No offense. I'm just saying. My presentation. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be. Do you have a voice reel? Yes, I do actually. One person did ask. Yes. If you go to mattbrunetvo.com, you'll actually find my voiceover demos of what I've done and an example of my voiceover work. So again, I might as well go and do this plug as well. So if you want to go and hire me for any voice acting roles, or if you want to go and hear my demos, go to mattbrunetvo.com. All right. Anyways, oh, and by the way, just a quick side note here. I do notice that in terms of the poll that I just made, it is unanimous. Every single one of you has voted that no, you do not believe that this rumor is real. So it looks like there is, at the very least, a lot of massive doubt if there even is going to be a live action My Little Pony movie. Interesting. All right. Anyways, let's see what we got here. I love both MLP Friendship is Magic and A New Generation movie from 2021. The former with Friendship is Magic is one of my favorite animated series, and the latter with ANG is one of my favorite animated comedies in recent years. Let's hope that this is just a rumor. Not everything needs to be in live action. Say what you will about the live action Transformers and G.I. Joe movies, but at least those make sense to turn into live action. Yeah, honestly, yeah, it is true. I mean, especially with the kind of film that, like, technically with those franchises, like, their primary medium is the toys. And I mean, in that perspective, yeah, you could go and easily adapt those into live action features. So yeah, like those ones, like, you could understand the idea of it to turn that into live action. My Little Pony, on the other hand, no, they're just freaking horses. I don't see how you could go and get those crazy especially with Pinkie Pie. I don't see how you could go and get those emotions out of a realistic horse. Or God forbid, if they decide to go absolutely cartoony with a realistic horse, it would just be so uncanny and strange to see a realistic horse just like stretching her neck or just like doing cartwheels and stuff like that. Let's see. I think all right, I think I'm only gonna go with 2 more comments. Yeah, we're just gonna go with 2 more comments here. Oh, God, please, God, no. This is not going to happen. I mean, we've seen ponies transfer from 2D into 3D animation, but for live action, just no. How's it going to fit in this one? Are they going to do more realistic ones, or are they going to do more cartoony ones like in How to Train Your Dragon? Or are we going to see real people coming from this one? I don't know. There's so many endless questions. I just don't want to think about it. Yeah, honestly, that could probably be the most tame thing that they could do. That maybe they might not go and adapt like My Little Pony in general, but maybe they're going to do like Equestria Girls. You know, they're going to go and actually have a live action version of that, and they're just going to have like, you know, like teenage girls just trying to play as the characters. You know, that could also be another possibility, and I feel like that could be like the best idea that they could do if they want to really bring My Little Pony into live action. All right. Anyways, one more comment here. I'm not going to say much here, but really a live action My Little Pony movie. I don't know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if this is a rumor, and I'm not going to immediately say it's true, but dang, imagine what a live action Spike or a live action Rarity would look like. I also hope MLP will do better when 2027 comes out. Also, can we have Tommy Wiseau as Rarity? Oh, God. Already we're going to be doing weird casting with this. But yeah, honestly, rather if this is true or not, I guess ultimately, let's just wait and see until Hasbro has something to say about it. All right, so now with that said, we are going to go on to one more break. And when we do come back, we're going to go on to what is possibly the biggest controversy of last week. And yes, this is definitely a bigger controversy than what I've just talked about with Hoppers and Fix. So stay tuned for the grand finale. And now, everyone, it is now time that we will end this episode off with the grand finale. And for this grand finale, yes, this may not necessarily be animation related, but this definitely is the craziest story that has happened last week, especially in terms of the reactions that this has been getting. However, unlike the controversies related to Hoppers and Fix, this is not a situation where it's the people who are to blame. Like the people who are angry at it, well, this time it is very justifiable as to why they would do so, because the real bad guys of this story is the company right over here. So with that said, let's just get right into it, and let's talk about the unfortunate cancellation of Stephen Colbert. Yes, CBS has officially announced that they are officially ending The Late Show, specifically that they are canceling The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And the reason why, as they explained, is actually because of financial reasons. So if I may go onto my source here on Variety, they have actually put out a statement to which they have said right over here, "We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable and will retire the Late Show franchise in May of 2026, the CBS executive said in a statement. "We are proud that Stephen called CBS home. He and the broadcast will be remembered in the pantheon of greats that graced late night television. This is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount." And of course, Colbert himself actually did put out a comment and talk to his audience in regards to the situation, to which he said right over here, "We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable and will retire the Late Show wrong one. I already said that part. Hold on a sec. I meant to go right over here. Colbert, who was informed of the network's decision Wednesday evening, according to a person familiar with the matter, told the audience about it at a taping for Thursday's broadcast. "It is a fantastic job. I wish somebody else was getting it," he quipped, while offering thanks to CBS executives and the 200 or so staffers who worked on his program. And of course, audience members booed because, well, they don't like to hear that The Late Show is being canceled. "Yeah, I share your feeling. It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away." And yeah, as you can imagine, with the reactions right over here, people have been massively upset about it. And not only that, but in terms of the explanation that CBS did put out, a lot of people are calling foul because I don't think anybody is actually buying into the fact that they decided to go and cancel Stephen Colbert just because of financial reasons. Mainly because, well, number one, we are talking about what is possibly the most popular late show on television. Like, Stephen Colbert has actually been getting amazing ratings on TV, even when compared to the other late shows, like with Jimmy Kimmel or with Jimmy Fallon. Like, he easily exceeds both of those and is able to pull out like a very strong audience, like night after night. So the show is just massively popular, and it just feels weird that they decided to go and cancel it. And number two, it's kind of weird that they would go and say that they want to cancel it for financial reasons, but that goes completely against what late shows are about in the first place. Because the whole purpose of late night talk shows is that they're supposed to be massively cost effective. They're supposed to be cheap. They're supposed to be made so that studios can go and save money, and then they can get a lot more earnings through that. And I mean, it's not like it's not like the Late Show with Stephen Colbert decide to go like massively extra, where they decided to go and do crazy things that requires a bigger and bigger budget. That's not the case at all. It's still a regular late night talk show that does the same things as Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon and all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's really hard to go and actually believe if they would go and actually cancel it for financial reasons. And honestly, I feel like when I was reading the CBS's explanation, it's almost comical. It's almost like they actually said the reason why people are actually suspicious of them now, where they say that, no, it's not related to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount, because, yeah, it kind of actually is. And the real reason, well, it's because of Donald Trump. A lot of people have actually suspected that it's because of Stephen Colbert's comments about Donald Trump, especially with the fact that he does not hesitate to go and call Donald Trump out, especially with what's been going on with the Epstein files. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about how the Trump administration and Donald Trump are just going 180 about the Epstein files, and they decided they're not going to go and release it, and they're so desperate to make everybody shut up about it. In fact, it's the main reason why we are seeing an increasing amount of Trump supporters that are full on turning against Donald Trump because he doesn't want to reveal what's in the Epstein files. And now more and more people are realizing that they're hiding it because Trump is in it. And considering the evidence that's already out there with his connection with Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, it is possible that Donald Trump has indeed done some illegal things with underage minors, that he's going around and actually, well, in lack of a better term, being a pedophile towards teenage girls. So in that regards, yeah, like, it really is obvious that Trump is guilty of that, and Stephen Colbert is one of those people who does not hesitate to go and call him out. I mean, yeah, Stephen Colbert has always been openly against Donald Trump and not afraid to go and criticize him with every stupid thing that he does that is destroying the integrity of the country. But he's also, this is also especially the case where Stephen Colbert is not afraid to call Donald Trump out on the Epstein files. And a lot of people are suspecting that the reason why CBS is canceling Stephen Colbert is because of that. It's because of how he is critical with Donald Trump. And this is not even to mention with how the parent company Paramount is trying so desperately hard to be cool with Donald Trump because of what's happening right now with the merger. That Paramount is in a desperate position where they want the merger with Skydance to go and happen. And the main thing that they want to do is to please Donald Trump to make sure that he is happy so that he could go and approve of the merger, because Trump actually does have the power to go and either approve or full on deny the merger. So they want to do everything they can in order to make him happy and to do everything so that he could go and approve it. And that even includes the fact that there was a lawsuit that Trump tried to do, and it was a clear slap lawsuit where Trump tried to sue 60 Minutes because of the way that he was criticized on the show. And Paramount decided to go and settle that lawsuit and give him $16 million for it. And from there, even at that, though, that's not even enough for Trump, where he's still demanding more money from Paramount for like whatever reason, for like many of the other things. So yeah, unfortunately, it pretty much is at the point where Trump is really taking advantage of Paramount's situation. And well, in lack of a better term, Paramount is now becoming Trump's bitch, and they will gladly go and obey to do whatever Trump wants to go and ask, even if it would mean to go and actually cancel, or allegedly to go and cancel, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Now, that is one more thing to go and address. Technically, this is actually considered an allegation, so there's no true confirmation if that actually is true or not. If the Late Show is actually canceled because of that. But still, though, it just feels at best massively suspicious with all that's going on with the merger, with the way that they're trying to please Donald Trump, and then now suddenly they're going to be canceling the Colbert Report, and it's already bringing fear amongst all the others that are under Paramount's wing as well. Even Jon Stewart had to go and actually address the situation where he doesn't know how the future of The Daily Show is going to be, because that's technically another late show where they would go and call out Donald Trump on his stupidity as well. And Jon Stewart is pretty much in a position where he feels like he is ready for the worst case scenario. He knows that there is that possibility that The Daily Show could be next, in which Paramount decides to go and immediately cancel to make Donald Trump happy. If that's the case, well, we don't know. It's ultimately a matter that we will have to wait and see. But that's unfortunately the current climate with what's been going on with both Trump and Paramount right now. And the backlash, honestly, it's at a point where I feel like, yeah, it is justifiable. I completely understand why people are very much upset at it. So much so that there has been a massive decline of subscriptions for Paramount Plus. Now, I know that when people would go and do this, it doesn't really sound like much. Like, we have seen people try to do this kind of activism action with Disney Plus or Netflix, and it doesn't really affect the company all that much. If anything, like later, they would just wait a few weeks and suddenly they would gain those subscribers back. But in the case of Paramount, though, I feel like that is a bit of a different story, considering that Paramount Plus is not like any of the major players. They're not like either Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, or anything like that. They're kind of like the lower tier streaming services that are out there. And not to mention that Paramount Plus is one of the major factors as to why Paramount is currently in this really bad position. It's like one of the major reasons why the entire company is like crumbling and desperately needs a merger with Skydance in order to go and save itself. So in that regards, yeah, this is already something that you could see that it is costing Paramount oh so dearly with this kind of action. And considering that their loyalty is more towards Trump than it is their audience, I don't see them trying to go and repair the situation anytime soon. And honestly, I feel like I'm looking back at what's been happening with Paramount and stuff like that. And honestly, I feel like even if the merger would go and happen, even if they would go and team up with Skydance in order to keep the company going, I don't think that's going to be enough to go and ultimately save Paramount. I feel like now more than ever, like they're being reduced to this hollow corporation, like even worse than how people think Disney and Warner Brothers is right now. And they're pretty much in a position where it really they're slowly turning into Trump's propaganda machine, especially with the way that they're getting rid of stuff like the Colbert Show. And I'll even say, well, not the Colbert Show. I mean the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And I'm just gonna go and say that considering I've recently talked about South Park and how their relationship with Paramount is becoming very messy because of the whole Skydance merger, I'm gonna go and make a prediction right now. I would not be surprised whatsoever if South Park decides to full on quit Paramount. If Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they decided they no longer want to be with Paramount and they're going to go and move shop, that they're going to go and either go with like Netflix or Warner Brothers or even with Fox, if they're going to go and join the league with Simpsons and Family Guy and stuff like that. They want to do everything possible in order to escape the current change that Paramount is going through, because like things have increasingly been getting worse. So honestly, in that regard, it's just really depressing to see how things are going with Paramount. And honestly, it's becoming more and more of a hopeless company right now. Like, rather if this merger is happening or not, it's just, yeah, the way that they've been handling this whole situation, I'm just going to go and say whatever happens to the company, even if it's something really bad, they're just pretty much asking for it in this case. So I just want to go and express my thoughts on this whole situation. And yeah, it really does suck. As for Colbert, by the way, I just want to say that I do hope things go well for him in the future. Like, yeah, he still technically has his show until May of 2026, but knowing how Colbert can be, I'm sure like it won't take long for him to get back on his feet, and that he'll go and find another platform that he can host like a brand new show. It's kind of like with Conan, like after he lost his late night show, he was able to go and get himself back up, and he's still like as lovable and strong as ever. I'm sure the same is going to be with Stephen Colbert. So yeah, I'm not too worried about his future. Let's just say that I think after the Late Show, Stephen Colbert is going to have a better future than Paramount. All right, so with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask what you all think about the whole situation with the cancellation of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and also I would like to know what you think about the future of Paramount, especially. Let me know what you all think. All right, so let's see here. I'll admit that I don't really watch these late night talk shows, but it is awful. Seeing Paramount and CBS would cancel Colbert Show just to please Trump so their stupid merger can happen. Honestly, this really has me afraid for the future of Paramount. Honestly, I'm really concerned with what's going to happen with Nickelodeon. They're already not in a good spot, but I feel like things will get worse for them. Oh, God, that is true. Yeah. Honestly, with Nickelodeon, I don't know, honestly. Like, if things don't, like, I'm just going to say now, like, if things don't go great with the merger, honestly, I don't know what will be happening with Nickelodeon. Like, it's not like they could go and move to another company altogether. Honestly, it's at the point where, like, I could see it. Maybe it's going to be in shambles, and at best, they could go and sell it to other studios. I know this is, like, promoting doomerism and stuff like that, but honestly, this is just to go and say, and by the way, I'm sorry for doing so, but yeah, honestly, I cannot imagine what's going to be happening with Nickelodeon if things get worse for Paramount, or I don't know. It's just, even their future looks bleak. Anyways, I'll be honest, I haven't seen The Late Show myself, but this news is just heartbreaking. And the reason that CBS provided is just ridiculous, especially with how Paramount is being loyal to Trump. I do hope that Colbert and the team of the show have a bright future, since I do know that they have a great time working on the show. Exactly. Like, I'll even say, even if Colbert decides to go independent and he decides to, like, put up a new YouTube show with the same team behind it, it's going to go amazingly well. Like, even if he goes fully independent, he'll do absolutely fine. Let's see. This news is really sad. I can understand why Paramount has to do it, since they want to please the Orange Big Chungus to get the merger with Skydance. But then again, this is the company who has canceled Blue's Clues and You, and also the Tiny Chef Show. I won't be surprised that Paramount might get bankrupt with a lot of bad decisions. Well, I mean, let's just go through the merger first, and then we'll see how things are going to be going with Paramount. Anyways, Paramount is also the parent company of Nickelodeon, and we know its controversies regarding certain creators and numerous of teen sitcoms and the amount of feet presented in them. That aside, it is always depressing to hear the cancellation of this scope. Colbert definitely did not deserve to be screwed over to this extent. I wish him well, whether he goes all said and done. All right, that is nice. As much as I didn't watch much of the late night shows, but given how Stephen Colbert's show is going to end, I feel nothing but wish Colbert the best of luck in his career. Like you said, he's going to do fine. It's really sad how Paramount crumbles hard. If you thought the downhill of WB is bad, Paramount is falling hard like a rock. Yeah. And I think I'll read one more comment here to go and cap this off. I'm going to make my own late show with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the show. And I think that's a nice way to go and end this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Thank you all so much for joining me on this episode. It's been a blast with what we've been talking about. So I just want to go and say, if you want to go and follow for more crazy adventures of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, where we get to go and talk more about some of the craziest news that's been happening in animation entertainment, then all you have to do is go and subscribe to the YouTube channel of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, or subscribe to me on Twitch at AniMat Live. At the same time, if you are listening to this in any of the podcast services that you are listening to me on, then don't forget to go and follow me there, whether it be on Apple, on Amazon, on Spotify, and many, many more. And with that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.